Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into the world of Regus office spaces. You've sent us like a ton of articles, reviews, even some pretty interesting future predictions. So I guess we got to figure out if Regus is the right fit, for you.
Yeah, it's definitely smart to really analyze this. I mean, we've got marketing hype, we've got real user experiences, and we've even got like a peek into where Regus is headed in the future.
Okay, so let's unpack all this. For those not super familiar, what is Regus trying to be like? What's their place in the whole workspace landscape?
Hmm. Imagine like a global network of offices, right?
Right.
And they've got everything
Yeah.
from a single desk to like a whole floor.
Uh-huh.
And it's all built around this idea that, well, your needs change, right? They change all the time.
So not your typical like sign a long-term lease kind of place,
Yeah.
more for, I don't know, the solopreneur or the growing team or even a company with like people all over.
Exactly. So whether you're in Tokyo one week, New York the next, or even Florence, Italy, Regus wants to give you that reliable professional setup
Huh.
wherever you land.
Okay, yeah, that global consistency is pretty appealing, especially in our like crazy work from anywhere world. But like honestly, why would someone pick Regus over, say, a traditional office or just, I don't know, staying home in their PJs?
That's the real question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to this. Regus is betting on flexibility being the new luxury.
Hmm.
But, with a professional polish that working from home just often lacks.
Okay, I like that. Flexibility as luxury. But let's break that down a bit. What kind of flexibility are we really talking about? Because, I mean, anyone can say they're flexible, right?
True, true. It's not just about the lease terms, though those do range from like daily rentals to yearly contracts, which is pretty wild. They've got this huge variety of office types too.
Yeah.
So you need a single desk and a like buzzing co-working space. They got it. Want a whole suite for your team with, doors and everything. They got that too.
So they're covering everyone from the like solo freelancer all the way up to what, Fortune 500 companies?
You got it. And this is where it gets interesting, I think. Regus is banking on the fact that your needs will change, right? Maybe you start small, then boom, you need more space.
Yeah.
So with Regus, you can often just like scale up within the same building. You avoid that huge move that, disrupts your whole workflow.
That's a huge GE point because signing a traditional lease, you're often locked in. Even if your business like takes off, or let's be honest, things don't go as planned.
Exactly. Regus wants to be the solution to that uncertainty. They're even experimenting with this thing they call service departments.
Wait, hold on. Apartments, like where you live.
Think of it as a service department for your like work life, a fully furnished space with all the work and living amenities you'd need kind of rolled into one.
So blurring those lines between work and life even further.
That's a bold move.
Yeah.
They're targeting, I think, those who travel constantly or those who want to cut out the commute but still have that separation from their, home.
Now that's an interesting angle I hadn't considered. Okay, so we've got flexibility in like space, in lease terms, even in kind of blurring work and life. But let's talk brass tacks, right? What about the actual experience of being inside a Regus?
Well, here's where those premium amenities come in. Regus aims to create this like turnkey experience. So you walk in and just, boom, get to work. Think blazing fast Wi-Fi, a receptionist to greet clients, meeting rooms that actually like impress.
Okay, so they're covering the basics, which honestly some places really mess up. But we're talking premium here. So what are those like extra touches that make it feel worthwhile?
Think breakout areas,
Yeah.
right? For when you need to brainstorm or just, escape your desk for a bit. On-site cafes, probably with like really good coffee so that caffeine fix is right there. And even those little things like well-stocked kitchens that just save you time and hassle.
It's like they're trying to anticipate every little annoyance of a typical office and smooth it over.
That's the idea. They're selling peace of mind so you can focus on your work, not the logistics of having a workspace.
And this is pretty consistent across their locations, right? Because a Regus in London better not feel like janky compared to one in New York.
That's a huge part of their brand promise, consistency. You're paying for that predictability, knowing what you're getting no matter where you are in the world.
That's got to be a relief for companies with like multiple offices or teams that travel a lot. But okay, let's be real. Is it all just fancy furniture and fast internet? Or is there something more to the Regus experience?
This is where those customer reviews get really fascinating. One thing that comes up over and over is this sense of community. It's not just the space itself, but the people you might encounter there.
So more than just a, like, sterile office building.
Yeah, Regus locations tend to attract a pretty diverse mix of people. You've got freelancers, startups, even folks from, big corporations. And you've got this, like, built-in networking potential just by, being in the same space.
That's a huge GE perk, especially for solopreneurs who, let's face it, can get a bit isolated working alone. Suddenly, grabbing coffee could lead to, like, your next big client.
Exactly. One review even mentioned how a chance meeting at a Regus led to a mentorship relationship that completely changed their career trajectory.
Okay, now that's the kind of stuff you just don't get working from your couch.
No.
So we've got flexibility, premium amenities, and this potential, like, community aspect.
Yeah.
But with Regus locations everywhere, how do you even begin to choose which one is right?
That's where we get into the nitty-gritty. Let's explore some of the standout Regus locations, both the iconic and, the hidden gems.
Lead the way. I'm ready for a virtual tour. Now, you mentioned Regus locations in some pretty swanky buildings, like the Chrysler Building in New York. Do those typically command like a premium price, or is it more about the image?
There's definitely an appeal to having a landmark as your business address, It adds instant credibility.
Yeah, it's like saying, we made it, we're playing the big leagues now.
Exactly. So the Regus in the Chrysler Building, for example,
Mm-hmm.
not only has those breathtaking city views, but it puts you right in the heart of New York's business district. You're paying for that prime location for sure.
Makes sense. And what about London? Any locations there that stand out?
88 Wood Street is a popular choice.
Hmm.
It's a modern building in London's financial district, known for its cutting-edge design and amenities. Like high ceilings, lots of natural light, and that sleek, contemporary feel that just screams successful business.
And if you're looking to, like, make a splash in the Asian market, any recommendations?
Tokyo's Shinjuku Park Tower location is a favorite. It offers, I think, a great mix of convenience, stunning views, and that bustling Tokyo energy. You're right in the middle of the action there.
Okay, so those are the heavy hitters, the locations that practically scream prestige. But what about those hidden gems you mentioned earlier? The ones that might be, off the beaten path, but still offer, like, a unique Regus experience.
Well, for those seeking a fresh, vibrant environment, keep an eye on the new, flexible coworking space opening at 1902 North Date Street in 2025. It's being designed specifically for startups and freelancers, so expect a more creative, collaborative vibe.
Ooh, a brand new location. That's exciting. What else is flying under the radar?
If you crave a more serene and inspiring setting, the Regus office in Boulder, Colorado offers stunning views of the Rocky Mountains. Just imagine, brainstorming sessions with that backdrop.
Talk about a creativity boost. Any other hidden gems you want to highlight?
For those who appreciate old world charm, the Regus Hub in Florence, Italy is a must-see. You're working amidst Renaissance masterpieces, surrounded by history and art.
Wow, working in Florence, that would be an experience in itself. So we've gotten a taste of the variety Regus offers, from big city landmarks to those quieter, unique spots. But how do you actually choose? What factors should you, like, consider when making that decision?
That's the crucial question, and it's where your own needs become, the compass. Let's break down how to assess what you actually need from a Regus.
Perfect. Because a beautiful view is nice, but it doesn't pay the bills.
Exactly. First, think about your primary purpose for this workspace. Is it mainly for client meetings where a prestigious address matters? Or do you need like a daily grind space for your team where functionality is key?
So step one is brutal honesty about what you'll actually use the space for.
Right. Then think about the people using it. How many employees? What kind of work do they do? Do they need individual desks, or are you a collaborative team that thrives in open spaces?
And I imagine the specific amenities you need also play a huge role. Like, a video editing company needs different stuff than, say, a financial consultant.
Absolutely. The basics are a given, but list out anything extra. Do you need top-notch video conferencing, a dedicated server room, soundproof booths for recording? That'll narrow down locations fast.
Okay, so you've got your list of needs, your must-haves. How do you actually compare different Regus locations to see which one, like, ticks all the boxes?
Practicality is king here. First, look at accessibility. Is it easy for you and your team to get there? Is public transport a nightmare? What's parking like? There's no point in a fancy office if it's a logistical headache to reach.
And the surrounding area matters too, right? No one wants to be stuck in a concrete jungle with no decent lunch spots.
Exactly. Think about what's nearby. Are there cafes, restaurants, maybe even a gym? to create a well-rounded work experience for your team.
Yeah, it's about that bigger ecosystem that supports a good work-life balance.
And finally, the vibe. This is harder to quantify, but just as crucial. Can you see your team thriving in this environment?
How do you assess that without hiring a feng shui consultant?
The best way is a site visit. Walk through the space, chat with staff, maybe even observe the people working there. Get a feel for the energy, the flow, and trust your gut.
It's like dating, but for office space. You'll know when it feels right.
Now, for those dipping their toes into the Regus world for the first time, a few extra tips can make the process, smoother.
All right, lay 'em on us.
First, if you're unsure, start with a short-term lease. Test the waters before diving in head first. Regus even offers virtual office solutions.
Okay, break that down for us. What's a virtual office in the Regus context?
You basically get a business address, access to their services, but no physical space. It's good for startups or those not ready for a full office yet.
So you get that professional image without the overhead. Clever. Any other first-timer wisdom?
Don't be shy about talking to current tenants if possible. They'll give you the, unfiltered truth about what it's actually like to work there.
Great advice. Get the inside scoop before signing on the dotted line.
So we've covered how to analyze your needs, compare locations, and even some first-timer tips. But the world of work is changing fast. What trends are shaping the future of Regus, and how can that impact your choices? That's where things get really interesting. Regus is making big bets on sustainability and tech advancements, and those choices will shape the workspace experience for, years to come.
All right, let's dive into that. I'm all ears because honestly, a sustainable office could mean anything these days.
We're going beyond buzzwords here. Regus is implementing tangible changes to lessen their environmental impact, which in turn impacts your business too.
So it's not just about them feeling good, but it actually has practical implications for the people working there.
Exactly. They're focused on energy efficiency, from LED lighting to motion sensors that shut off lights in empty rooms. They're even installing solar panels on some buildings to generate their own, renewable energy.
Okay, so they're walking the walk when it comes to reducing their carbon footprint. But how does that translate into the actual workspace?
Think about it this way. Energy-efficient buildings often have better air quality, more natural light, which can actually impact your team's well-being and productivity. They're also incorporating water-saving fixtures and comprehensive recycling programs.
So it's not just about the big picture, but also about creating a healthier, more mindful work environment.
Exactly. They're also using low VOC paints and carpets to improve indoor air quality and incorporating more natural light and greenery.
Wait, greenery, like bringing plants into the office.
It's a design approach called biophilic design. The idea is that by incorporating elements of nature into the workspace, you can reduce stress, increase productivity, and improve focus.
So it's not just about aesthetics, but about leveraging the power of nature to actually make a better work environment.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that our well-being is intertwined with the health of our planet.
Now, that's a perspective I hadn't considered. Okay, so sustainability is one big bet. What about the tech side? How is Regus, staying ahead of the curve there?
Well, the key word here is seamless. They're integrating technology to make the entire workspace experience as smooth and frictionless as possible.
Give me some examples. Because honestly, tech integration can sometimes just mean a printer that never works.
Think about meeting rooms, right? Those are notorious for double bookings and logistical nightmares. Regus is implementing automated booking systems that let you reserve rooms online or through an app.
So no more awkward standoffs outside the conference room arguing over who booked it first.
Exactly. And these systems often integrate with other tech like video conferencing, so everything's, connected.
That's a huge time saver, especially for companies that rely heavily on meetings.
Another area they're innovating is in climate control. They're experimenting with AI-driven systems that adjust temperature and lighting based on occupancy and personal preferences.
So the office becomes intuitive. It learns how to keep everyone comfortable.
Yeah, it's about personalization and efficiency. These systems use sensors to detect the number of people in a room, their activity levels, even their preferred temperature settings, and adjust accordingly.
That's wild. So it's not just a set and forget it thermostat anymore.
And of course, high-speed internet and advanced security systems are becoming standard in all their locations. No more fighting over bandwidth or worrying about, data breaches.
So they're covering those digital essentials. which is non-negotiable these days.
Exactly. They're constantly evolving and adapting to meet the demands of, modern workplace.
Now, all this tech is great, but I'm curious about the design of Regus workspaces. Is it all like sleek minimalism and glass walls, or is there something more human-centered happening?
The design is definitely evolving to reflect the changing nature of work. They're moving away from those traditional closed-off offices toward more open plan layouts.
So less Mad Men, more collaborative and flexible.
Exactly. They're incorporating a mix of spaces like open work areas, private offices, meeting rooms, even communal kitchens and lounges.
So there's a space for every kind of like work style, whether you need quiet focus or that, buzzing team energy.
They're also using flexible furniture and movable partitions so spaces can be easily reconfigured.
So the office can literally adapt as your team grows or your needs change. That's pretty cool.
One trend you'll see is the use of natural light and greenery, that biophilic design we talked about. Lots of windows, skylights, even living walls.
So bringing the outdoors in, even in the heart of a city.
Another trend is using bolder colors and patterns to create a more stimulating and energizing atmosphere.
So it's not just a sea of beige cubicles anymore.
And lastly, there's a big emphasis on ergonomics, using adjustable desks, ergonomic chairs, and supportive furniture.
So they're thinking about the long-term health and well-being of the people working there. That's a big plus.
It's all about creating a workspace that's both functional and inspiring.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here. We've explored the benefits of Regus, the customer experience, their sustainability efforts, the tech innovations, and even how their workspace designs are changing.
It's been quite the journey so far.
But before we jump into the all-important topic of cost in part 2, let's pause and connect this back to you, the listener.
What's resonated with you most? What questions are bubbling up?
Take a moment to jot down your thoughts, and we'll pick up the conversation in part 2, where we'll tackle the financial side of Regus.
Until then, happy working.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a lot about Regus so far, like their global network, those unique locations, the whole sustainability and tech angle. It's clear they're trying to be more than just, four walls and a desk.
Yeah, they're aiming for that sweet spot between functionality and experience, which is smart, but all that comes at a price, right?
Exactly. And that's what we're tackling in this part. Because let's be real, no matter how cool the office is, budget is like a huge factor.
It's all about value. Does what Regus offers actually justify the cost compared to, your other options?
Good point. But before we get into those nitty-gritty comparisons, let's talk about what people are actually saying about working in Regus Spaces. Do those fancy amenities and promises actually hold up in reality?
This is where those customer reviews become gold. And the good news is, Regus locations consistently get pretty positive feedback. It's not just marketing hype. People seem, genuinely happy working there.
That's a good sign. But what are they praising specifically? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, a lot of reviews highlight the professional atmosphere. For people who miss that aspect of a traditional office, Regus provides that structure, that sense of purpose,
Yeah, I get that. Working from home can blur the lines too much. Sometimes you need that dedicated work zone.
Exactly. And people find that Regus helps them, focus, be more productive just by the environment itself.
What about those flexible lease options? Are people actually benefiting from that in practice?
Absolutely. Many reviews rave about how convenient and cost-effective it is to choose a lease that just fits their needs. Startups especially love the ability to scale up as they grow without being stuck in a long contract.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage, especially in today's unpredictable business landscape.
And of course, you've got the glowing reviews about the amenities, the fast Wi-Fi, the well-equipped meeting rooms, even the friendly staff get shout-outs.
It seems like Regus is actually delivering on that premium experience they promise.
One reviewer even said, and I quote, "The Regus staff are like personal concierges for your work life. They go above and beyond."
Okay, that's impressive. Now, I bet the global reach is a huge selling point for companies with international operations.
Without a doubt, being able to offer a consistent office experience across different countries is invaluable for global teams.
It streamlines everything, makes it easier to collaborate, and keeps everyone feeling connected no matter where they are.
One business owner mentioned how Regus helped them expand into new markets, smoothly. providing ready-to-use offices in those strategic locations. It's like having a built-in infrastructure for growth.
So it's not just about renting space, it's about having a partner that understands global business needs.
Right. Now, beyond the general praise, there were some interesting nuggets in the reviews that really highlight what the day-to-day is actually like.
Okay, give us those juicy details.
One freelancer loved the flexibility of choosing a different Regus office each day, depending on their mood or what they were working on. It's like having a whole menu of workspaces.
So you can just like bounce around and find the perfect vibe for whatever you need to get done that day.
Exactly. Another reviewer emphasized the value of those chance encounters at Regus. They said they'd met some of their most valuable business contacts just by, being in the same space.
It's those like unexpected connections that can really make a difference.
And several reviews stressed the importance of visiting a location in person before committing. Photos online can only tell you so much. You need to feel the energy of the place.
It makes sense. You're going to be spending a lot of time there, so it needs to, feel right.
It's about finding a space that resonates with, your work style, your company culture.
Okay, so we've heard a lot of positives, but are there any potential downsides or things to watch out for? No place is perfect after all.
You're right to be cautious. While most reviews are positive, there are a few recurring themes that are worth considering.
Okay, let's air those out. What are people saying?
One thing that comes up is noise levels,
Hmm.
especially in those shared workspaces. If you need absolute silence to focus, it might not be the ideal environment.
Makes sense. When you've got a bunch of people working together, things can get a little, buzzy.
But it's worth noting that Regus does offer private offices for those who need a quieter space. So there are options depending on your sensitivity to noise.
Good to know. What other potential drawbacks did you find?
A few reviewers mentioned inconsistencies in amenities across different Regus locations. While they strive for a consistent standard, there can be variations in, internet speed, availability of certain amenities, or even the helpfulness of staff.
So it's not a guaranteed, cookie cutter experience everywhere.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of doing your research, reading reviews for specific locations, and maybe even reaching out to current tenants to get the inside scoop.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. It's your workspace, your investment.
And one final point some people brought up is that Regus can feel a bit more corporate and impersonal compared to smaller independent co-working spaces.
So maybe less of that tight-knit community vibe in some locations.
It's a trade-off. You get the consistency and global reach of a large company, but it might come at the expense of some of that, warm, fuzzy feeling.
It's about figuring out what atmosphere best suits your work style and your company culture.
Exactly. Weigh the pros and cons and make an informed decision.
Now, even with those potential downsides, let's not forget the bigger picture. Regus is a popular choice for a reason.
They're offering this combination of flexibility, professionalism, and global reach that's hard to beat.
And while there might be minor hiccups along the way, the overall customer experience seems to be, pretty positive.
It's all about finding the right fit for your specific needs. No two businesses are the same.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp of what it's actually like to work in a Regus, the good and the not so good. But now let's talk money.
The million-dollar question. How much does all this cost?
And more importantly, how does it compare to, other options?
Let's dive into the different pricing models Regus offers, because that's where things get really interesting. They understand that not every business needs the same level of commitment or has the same, budget.
So they're trying to cater to everyone, from the solo freelancer to the, multinational corporation.
Exactly. First up, you've got hourly rates.
Yeah.
These are perfect for occasional users, like someone who needs a workspace for a few hours while traveling, or for those, important client meetings when a home office just won't cut it.
It's like renting a workspace on demand. You pay for what you use, and you still get access to all those fancy amenities.
Then you've got monthly memberships. These are for people who need more regular access, but maybe not a dedicated office.
So you get your own desk in a co-working space or maybe even a small private office, depending on the plan.
Right. These memberships usually include perks like, Wi-Fi, printing, and some meeting room hours. It's like a gym membership, but for your work life.
And lastly, there are the traditional lease agreements. These are for businesses that need a permanent space, a home base for their team.
You get a fixed monthly rent for a specific office, And the lease terms can vary from a few months to, several years. It's the most stable option, but also the biggest commitment.
Okay, so those are the options on the table, but how do you actually figure out how much a Regus is going to cost you? It can't be as simple as just looking at a price list, right?
You're right. It's more nuanced than that. The first step is to be brutally honest with yourself about your needs.
Yeah.
How often will you actually use the space?
Yeah, no point in paying for a full-time office if you're only there once a week.
Exactly. Once you know your usage patterns, you can start to estimate how many hours or days you'll need.
Yeah.
That helps you narrow down which pricing model makes the most, financial sense.
So for occasional use, hourly rates are the way to go. If you need a desk every day, a monthly membership is probably better. And for a permanent team, a lease is the obvious choice.
Now, the next step is to factor in the cost of amenities. Make a list of everything you need, not just the, nice to haves.
Wi-Fi and printing are pretty standard these days, but what about meeting rooms, kitchen access, those little perks that can add up?
Right, compare those costs across different locations, pricing models.
Yeah.
Some Regus locations might include certain amenities in their base price. Others might charge extra.
So you really need to do your homework and compare apples to apples.
And don't forget about hidden costs, things like parking, mail handling, phone services. Those can sneak up on you if you're not careful.
It's all about being aware of those potential extras so you can budget realistically.
Now, another crucial factor is your projected growth. If you anticipate your team expanding in the near future, you need to choose a workspace and a pricing model that can, scale with you.
Yeah, no one wants to be stuck renegotiating a lease or moving offices every 6 months.
It's about thinking long term and making sure your workspace can support your business goals.
Now, for those of us watching our wallets, are there any cost-saving tips you can share? How can we make the most of our budget with Regus?
Absolutely. One of the easiest ways to save is to opt for shared offices. You're essentially splitting the cost of the space with other businesses without sacrificing that, professionalism.
So you get a dedicated desk in a shared space, but still have access to all the Regus perks.
Exactly. Another tip is to be on the lookout for promotions. Regus often runs specials and discounts, so check their website or, contact their sales team.
It never hurts to ask, and you might be surprised at the deals they offer.
And finally, review your needs, regularly. As your business changes, so might your workspace requirements. Make sure you're not paying for more than you actually need.
So stay flexible, keep an eye on your budget, and don't be afraid to adjust your Regus plan as your business evolves.
It's all about being proactive and making informed decisions.
Now, we've talked a lot about Regus, but for those who are, exploring their options, what about WeWork? How do they compare in terms of cost and overall value?
WeWork is definitely a major player in the coworking space, and they're often seen as a more, budget-friendly alternative to Regus.
But are they truly comparable?
It depends on your priorities.
Yeah.
WeWork is known for its trendy collaborative spaces, often targeting startups and freelancers. They tend to have a more social vibe with lots of events and networking opportunities.
So more of a community feel, less corporate.
Exactly. Regus, on the other hand, offers a wider range of office types and services, catering to businesses of all sizes. They have that more, professional, consistent feel that some companies prefer.
So we work for the hip, young startup.
Yeah.
Regus for the established business that needs reliability.
It's a bit of a generalization, but it captures the essence. Ultimately, the best way to decide is to, compare prices, visit both types of spaces, and see which one feels like a better fit for your company culture and your budget.
Okay, so we've dissected the different pricing models, talked about cost-saving tips, and even compared Regus to WeWork. I'm feeling much more informed about the financial side of things.
But before we wrap up part 2, let's take a moment to bring this back to you, the listener.
What are your financial priorities when it comes to choosing a workspace?
Are you bootstrapping a startup? Or do you have a, healthy budget to invest in the perfect office environment?
What are your must-haves and your nice-to-haves?
Take a moment to reflect on your own financial situation and jot down any questions you might have.
We'll be diving into part 3 soon, where we'll explore the future of workspaces and what that means for, you.
Until then, happy budgeting.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've really gone deep on Regus, from their global network and those cool amenities to the nitty-gritty of costs and customer feedback. But now, I think it's time to shift gears a bit. Let's look toward the future.
Because choosing a workspace isn't just about, today. It's about setting yourself up for success down the road.
Exactly. The world of work is evolving, like at warp speed. What works today might be totally obsolete next year.
So let's explore the trends that are shaping the future of workspaces, and of course, how Regus fits into that bigger picture.
Okay, first up, the elephant in the room. Right. Remote work, it's not going anywhere, is it?
Nope, it's here to stay.
Yeah.
The pandemic just accelerated a trend that was already underway. And while some companies are, calling everyone back to the office, many are embracing a hybrid model.
So a mix of in-office and remote work with employees kind of choosing what works best for them.
That's the key. Flexibility is the name of the game these days. And that's where Regus comes in. They're well positioned to cater to this, this hybrid workforce.
Because their whole model is built around like flexibility, right?
Exactly. Whether you need a desk for a day, a week, a year, they've got you covered.
And their global network means you can work from, well, practically anywhere.
They're also investing heavily in technology to create a seamless experience for both in-office and remote workers.
Think video conferencing, collaboration tools, all that good stuff.
They're creating workspaces that are, specifically designed for hybrid teams with a mix of private offices, open collaboration areas, and those quiet zones for focused work.
So they're adapting to the changing needs of the workforce, not just clinging to the old way of doing things.
Right. Now, another major trend that's only going to get bigger is the focus on sustainability.
Because businesses are realizing that being, eco-friendly isn't just good for the planet, it's good for the bottom line, too.
Consumers are demanding it, investors are rewarding it, and employees, well, they're attracted to companies that align with their values.
And Regus is taking this seriously, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're making significant investments in, energy efficiency, waste reduction, creating healthier work environments.
So it's not just about slapping a green label on things. It's about making real, tangible changes.
They're using renewable energy, incorporating sustainable materials, designing spaces with natural light and greenery.
It's all about creating workspaces that are good for the planet and good for the people working in them.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the rise of the freelance economy.
More and more people are choosing to ditch the 9 to 5 and work for themselves.
And this trend shows no signs of slowing down. It's driven by technology, a desire for, more flexibility, and I think a real shift in attitudes towards work in general.
And guess who's perfectly positioned to cater to this growing army of freelancers?
Regus, of course.
Yeah.
Their flexible membership plans and diverse workspace options make them a natural choice for freelancers who need a professional and inspiring place to work.
They offer that sense of community, networking opportunities, all the amenities a freelancer could need, really.
It's like having a built-in support system for your freelance journey.
Okay, so we've got remote work, sustainability, the freelance boom. What other trends are on the horizon?
Well, one that's going to be huge is the integration of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, okay, yeah. AI is already changing how we work, and its influence is only going to grow from here.
Think chatbots, virtual assistants, automation tools, that whole world.
And Regus is on top of this.
They're exploring ways to incorporate AI into their workspaces to, enhance the user experience and improve efficiency.
Give me an example. How could AI actually change a Regus office?
Well, imagine AI-powered meeting room booking systems. They could learn your preferences and suggest the best times and spaces for your meetings.
Or personalized climate control systems that adjust the temperature and lighting based on your individual needs.
Exactly. It's about creating a workspace that's intuitive, responsive, and tailored to your specific work style.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, one final trend I want to touch on is the growing emphasis on wellness in the workplace.
Because finally, businesses are realizing that, happy, healthy employees are more productive and engaged.
It's not just about foosball tables and free snacks anymore.
It's about creating workspaces that actually promote physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
Think ergonomic furniture, natural light, access to healthy food options and opportunities for movement and relaxation.
And Regus is starting to incorporate these elements into their workspace designs.
So they're offering fitness classes, mindfulness sessions, even outdoor workspaces.
It's all about encouraging employees to take breaks and recharge. creating a more holistic work environment that supports the whole person.
So to wrap up, it seems like the future of workspaces is all about flexibility, sustainability, technology, and wellness.
And Regus is actively adapting and evolving to meet those challenges and opportunities.
They're investing in the future of work, which is a good sign for anyone considering a Regus workspace. So as we wrap up this deep dive on Regus, let's bring it back to you, the listener. What stood out to you? What are your biggest takeaways? What questions are still lingering? We hope this conversation has given you a clearer picture of what Regus offers both today and in the exciting future of work. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.